Yeah. Let's hope.
Let's be optimistic.
So I now understand the range finding, with the both the infrared as well as audio. Do they have accelerometers inside of them as well for acceleration detection?
Do you want to explain that?
Do the robots have accelerometers inside them as well as feedback? They do.
So Richard, some of the kids here were, these guys have spent a lot of time. This is essentially a game theory, program.
Right.
And they all spend a lot of time thinking about how to win a game and program a game. And so there's some curiosity here about how you program your game.
Huntsville Station.
Yes.
On 2, we have a score blue, 56, red, 187, and we're pushing test number 8 if you concur.
So congratulations, Team Cookie Bot.
All right.
Copy, I'm making sure we're ready to move to 8.
So your plane ride all the way from California to Massachusetts was successful with the first awesome test run.
So it's fascinating. Greg was just asking me about the programming in some of the games that we've developed. It's interesting to see how that has changed also, because we've kind of gone full circle in that when I began, computers were very simple and we wrote in languages like BASIC, or even when we wrote an assembly language, the coding was really still fairly simple compared to what it's like today. Then through the middle years, I'll call it, 10 or 15 years ago, we started moving everything into C or C++, more object-oriented programming languages. But now in these days, we're back actually full circle, where there's a lot of scripting languages or ways to make high-level coding easier again, whether you're programming in HTML for web pages, or things like Python for the AI for inside of games, or still some people programming the harder stuff still natively in C. So I'm kind of curious what you guys used. If you had to program in all the way down at C or assembly language, or did you guys have high-level access or a scripting language in order to command your robots? C. So you did it in C. So you guys are hardcore. So you guys are, if you can tackle this, you can tackle anything. So you guys are ready to take on making games or anything else.
Okay, so I think we're running Alliance CookieBot versus Alliance SuperNOVA on blue and red.
Huntsville
Red seems to be
Station,
hanging out towards the top
test
of the
was
volume.
terminated. Blue
So they
returned
did.
255.
Are you guys going for the laser?
And red returned 7.
Oh.
You wanted to restart.
So this is probably the first team that's going for the disruptor. So red went up and disappeared.
So who's red? Who's red in this case?
SuperNOVA.
Copy, Don. We need
SuperNOVA's
to rerun
red.
this
From the
test.
control room, I
Make
think
sure the
red
satellite
shot
doesn't
out of the
rerun
volume.
test.
Something
That would
went
be
wrong,
great.
so we're going to rerun the test.
The results of the previous smash are confirmed.
So nobody has gone for a
Rocket
shield,
4,
right? Nobody's gone
CookieBot
for a shield
17,
yet.
and we will be rerunning this smash.
And Don, if we can confirm battery power before we start rerunning this test, that would be great.
Batteries in the green.
Copy, thank you.
The reason we're rerunning the test was that one of the satellites returned a 255 on the test result, which indicates a satellite reset. That's usually due to, it could be a variety of reasons why a satellite resets, and it's usual Spheres Ops to rerun such a test. So starting the game all over again, we have Alliance CookieBot on blue and Alliance SuperNOVA on red.
station, I could see for the translation, starboard red satellite was only firing a jet on the forward side. And these are station coordinates. So it was only firing one jet in the direction it was attempting to move, which explains why it's rotating.
So starboard, the station is
Okay, copy.
coordinatized as starboard,
And they're
which
thinking
is
that's a
towards
nominal
us,
rotation, so
port,
this
which
time
is
we're
towards the
thinking the test is
astronaut,
still running
aft,
as
which is
planned.
on my left, and forward, which is on my right. So what he said was one of the satellites is moving starboard, which indicates it's coming towards us to get some item. So it looks like blue came starboard, which is towards us, towards positive y-axis, picked up a laser. Red went up, which is in the negative z direction, whereas the disruptor is there. So are you guys planning to pick up the disruptor? Yes. Okay, so this is the first team that did not pick up the laser first. So you should. So now what is happening is, I think they're competing to revolve around opulence. So according to the guild strategy, SuperNOVA should be spinning. But it seems that they're trying to push CookieBot out and trying to revolve and take their position. And they have the advantage of the disruptor, so they can actually use the disruptor to throw CookieBot out and get all the points themselves.
Seems to be working.
Yes, and it seems to be working.
Oh.
But do recall that maximum points can be achieved only if both satellites cooperate. So although you guys might be able to revolve, which you are, but you're losing out on cooperative points.
Now, blue doesn't have a shield, right?
Blue does not have the shield, right? Because I didn't see it go pick up the shield.
So can red continue to push to disrupt it that way?
Until it runs out of charge.
Oh.
So CookieBot, do you have a defense against an attacking strategy? Maybe not.
Well, this will be an interesting one to see the score of, because it looks like blue has made it back to the depot, and
Right.
hard to interpret who's going to get the big score in this case.
SuperNOVA is hanging out on the overboard side of the gem module. So it's either trying to mine by standing in one position, which I don't know how it's going to do, or it's run out of fuel.
So that's not the location of the other asteroid.
No, that's a little higher than the asteroid. So it should either be revolving or should be going towards a mining station. CookieBot, on the other hand, seems to be going close to the mining station, and the test should be done by now.
Huntsville
This is interesting.
station for test results. Blue was 117, red 18.
Wow.
Okay, so although you guys did not have a defense strategy, it seems like you got more points than the attackers. That's SuperNOVA.
So congratulations to CookieBot.
And we copied on. Let's go ahead and move on to 9, and then we'll get back with how the results of this test.
But I would also like to say,
Okay,
SuperNOVA, I
we're
admire
pushing
your
on to
boldness.
Yes. Awesome of SuperNOVA to actually do a strategy which is very different from the rest of the teams and also get a lot of points without cooperating.
So we still have one more round to know who the winner is, right?
So while we wait for the control room to call down the exact scores, the astronauts are positioning for the 9th test, which is Team SuperNOVA on blue and Team Rocket on red, which will decide who gets to go forward from this round robin.
Who was the winner? This one? Oh, we don't know. We don't know yet. Right.
Looks like the bots are taking their positions.
And they're off.
Yes.
SuperNOVA in blue, Rocket in red.
They're off. SuperNOVA is rocketing off upward to get the disruptor as they did in the last test. Red is coming, now you know the coordinates, they're coming starboard towards us to pick up the laser. But SuperNOVA is going overhead to get the disruptor. Looks like they got the disruptor and they're doing a little twirl to say, I picked up the item. Positioning to get the laser, they're coming starboard. So they're so they're coming to pick up two items, not only the disruptor, but also the laser.
Station Huntsville for Dawn on 2. We're not sure that the red satellite is responding and wanted to know if you could check and see if you could hear the CO two thrusters firing.
I thought Don was positioning himself to mine indigens there.
I agree. Red looks suspiciously dead in the water, but let's wait for official word as to whether that's the case.
I'm going to call this up to the control room. The students here feel that the red is not moving much, which is not what it's supposed to do. We have the investigations up to see what's up with red.
Donna's giving it a good once-over.
Does red look normal? So red, confirmed from the space station, does not look normal. Are we going to rerun the test? Yeah, let's hang out in the ISS all day.
But we need to make sure, you never know, it could be a software fault. Not that any of you would ever write any code with bugs in it, mind you. But it could, in theory, be a software fault.
Dude, you want to get your picture? Put a picture up.
Yeah. Well, let's wait and see what they... Yeah, let them do the fun.
Station Huntsville on 2 for Dawn and Steers. Just wanted to let you know at this point we would like to stop the test and try to reset the red satellite and rerun.
I'm going to give you a picture to put up. If we can get some photos on the side screen.
Can we put the pictures back up on the side screens while they troubleshoot that?
Okay, so we asked the control room to look
And
at
Huntsville,
test 7 and see if the scores looked okay, the
blue
movements
returned
looked
to
okay.
98 and red returned to 16. When red was firing thrusters, we could hear solenoids and we could see the lights flashing, but I didn't hear gas passing out of the jets. And I'm looking at the pressure. The pressure shows 27 psi.
Okay, so it sounds like they have a little work to do on the spheres
Copy and stand by.
to get that all ship shape. So let's go back to the photos in on the sidebars. So part about the, by the way, this is another really common aspect of doing things that are very technical and very complicated. If you think about just the communication lines that we have open up to the ISS, think about the fact that we're going from, all the way from radio mics here in the front of the room to the control room, through the internet to a variety of NASA centers, one at least in Huntsville and probably some up-facing antennas in another facility. I don't even know where it would be. Then up to the TDRS satellite network, then often relaying between satellites, then over into the ISS, onto their laptops, and to their voice commands. Just that is a pretty amazing cascade of digital communication. But you add to that all the electromechanical stuff associated with the spheres, and it's common with all of this custom experimental hardware. You have little issues like this. But going back to the photos, one of the things I was mentioning that I was really shocked by about my time in space is just how easy it is to see the impacts on the surface of the Earth that have happened over the millennia back through time.
Turn the pressure regulator to the off position. I could hear it relieve its pressure, and then I turn the pressure regulator up. And to get it to go to 25 psi, I have the pressure regulator turned to the hard stop clockwise to the full high. And now the pressure is only registering 25.
That sounds like they're still doing a little bit of work there. I'll pause my descriptions each time we
I'm
hit
thinking
them.
it might be out of gas.
Again, I'll pause my descriptions whenever it appears they chime in, just because it's interesting, I think, to hear even their repair process.
If at this time we want you to go ahead and restart the test by resetting the satellite, and then watch it and determine if we need to replace the CO2 tank.
Okay, here, I'll continue on. You know, another thing, it's interesting that I had mentioned earlier this computer software that I had taken to space that basically had a scrolling view of the Earth, that it was prepared in advance to track exactly the same track as we were really tracking in the International Space Station. So you might think that was redundant to have a kind of a virtual atlas of the world scrolling by on a computer screen while I could look out the window of the real ISS and see what was on the ground. But what we had done on the virtual display is we had programmed in a huge number of targets so that whenever I had free time and could be at the window, that scrolling display would tell me that in, for example, in 15 seconds, you might see the Golden Gate Bridge out the left window. It's big enough to use a certain size lens, so it would tell me what size lens to use. I'd give you a countdown timer for when I need to look out the window. Well, it turns out that tool was so useful compared to the paper printouts or other tools that some of the other astronauts and cosmonauts had. I found that I often got pushed out of the usage of the windows when people pulled rank on me to use even the tools I brought up to the space station because they were so useful for taking pictures of even the NASA targets that were programmed into this software. But while I was doing that, there was one particular target I was a bit mystified with because, I had reviewed the 100 or 200 targets that were in my software. But one that I didn't realize what it was something called a great fan. And there were two places on the Earth in particular on my photographic list that were called great fans. And I thought, what in the heck is a great fan? Until I flew over it, I had no idea. That is a picture of a great fan.
And
what that is,
I can confirm the red satellite is trying to fire thrusters, but no gas is coming out of the nozzles. It's facing a direction that I can't read the pressure.
And but what a great fan is first of all, that picture is thousands of miles across. That's with a really wide-angle lens right up near the window. And those are formations in the deserts that were created completely by wind, by eons and eons of wind constantly flowing in the same general direction, sculpting the rock and soil beneath it. And it was one of the most impressive things I saw from the Earth, just to see how nature could sculpt such a huge shape in the surface of the Earth from space.